crafters, this is Suzanne from A Creative Muse, and I'm here with a double project showcase, meaning two projects, two items to show is what I should say. Two items to show here in the showcase. And this stamp set with this whole coordinating goodness has been out for a little while, and I had gotten it, and I was really in my mind when I got it. It was supposed to be like Mother's Day, but for some reason, you know, something came up with one of my friends. She was ordered into quarantine, and she wasn't handling it well. She's not COVID positive, but just the whole quarantining and not being around her kids has been really tough on her. So I decided to make her a card. And then I thought, you know, wouldn't this be the perfect set? It's like sending flowers. It's a slimline, blanket slimline representing a hug. And then the words hang in there. And also, so the second part, so there is this whole set. That's one part of the product showcase. And then the second part is this cute slimline envelope die that I got from Simon Says Stamp over the holidays when they had that 30% off. It was during Christmas. If it wasn't Christmas, was it New Year's? No, I think it was Christmas. And we'll talk more about this cutie patootie. So let's get started. Let's take a closer look at this wonderful set. This is card number 1 that I made for her. This is card number 2. You can see the difference. And the reason why I got this, and this is a stamp set. As well, it's a whole like ensemble. I should say it's an ensemble. Let me move it out the way. It's an ensemble from PinkFresh Studio. And what it is, I think they're thinking, they didn't say it, but that's my thinking, is for those of us that don't know how to do watercoloring, but we want to do the big pretty flowers, this is the easiest way to get there for us. And I totally appreciate it. So first comes the slimline sized flower. This is roughly, let's say almost 8 1/4. The width, call it between 3 and 3 1/4 inches. So it's slimline size, but it will fit on a standard slimline card, which is 3 1/2 by 8 1/2. So this will fit in it. Now, this is a very long stamp, and it is a photopolymer stamp. And one thing about this particular stamp, which is so long, which I really liked from PinkFresh, is how thick this stamp is. Most photopolymer, you can dangle it like this, but then the image is this small. This thing is like nice and thick. And then it also comes with, all these wonderful, like I only bought it for the flower and to be able to fake watercoloring. That's the only reason I bought it. I was like, I wasn't thinking about the sentiments, but once I was making the card for her, I was like, isn't this perfect for her? You're in quarantine and you're like upset. Isn't it a little something to brighten your day? Take care. You are the sweetest. You made my day. Thanks so much. So we are having thank you, thinking of you, happy birthday, miss you so much. You did awesome. You totally can, and so happy for you. So this covers a whole lot of occasions just in this set. And this also comes in a set. There's this one, which I thought out of the 3 was the best. This is not the most cheapest thing, so I picked what spoke to me. There's also one with leaves, and then there's another one. The flowers look different, I think, with the third one, but I know this was the one that spoke to me. And this is the Floral Notes stamp. So cute. And then they give you this on the back. So this is one of those, because of the length of this packaging, which is like 11 inches long, I'm going to have to keep the plastic it comes in. Like if this thing tears on the side, I'll be sticking tape along it just to store it nicely. Like I said, it's a thick photopolymer stamp, but it's also a stamp that if you do have a stamping tool, this is a good reason to use it. Look how thick this thing is. See the thickness? Like, so at first I was like, is this thing rubber or is this, you know, but I think they made it this way so that when you drop it, let me show you on my Misty, because it does fit in your standard Misty. When you drop it, the bigger the stamp is sometimes with open space, you'll drop it and it'll misshape itself. I think they made it so thick so that when it goes on, it won't misshape itself. It won't be out of range. Popped it on like so. I kind of angled it a little bit. Then pop my little magnet. Come back over. And then I stamped it up. I used my Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. I will link that below. I'll link this all. I did buy this set from scrapbook.com because I got the little discount. So really, really like this set. I'm going to put it back. Goes on nicely. And what I did put a strip of packing tape up here and tape the both sides so I don't lose the little carrier, the little sheet here that it goes on to keep it all nice and together. So first, you get the stamp. Now, if you have a very big acrylic block, yes, you can stamp this by hand. But I can't stamp straight at all, so I use my stamping tool. Any stamping tool, as long as it has the length, will work for this. Whether you have your Tim Holtz, your bigger We Are Memory Keepers. Of course, I got the coordinating die. You don't have to, but look at all those cracks and crevices. No, I'm just not good at the fussy cutting deep. So I got that. I got the entire set. That's why I only bought one set. I was like, the leaf one, that's cute. No, it's okay. I don't really need it. And this has leaves on it anyway. Not individually, but it's there. Now here we have nice stencils. 1, 2, 3. So how I did it, I did flower first, the big one, then more intricate, the second one, and then I did the leaves last. And with that, I made 2 cards. So this one is my first attempt, and the stencil will not line up exactly perfect when you're making this when you're stenciling in the image. It's to give you the illusion of watercolor. So it's not going to be 100% perfect. So don't sit there going, why is it not lining up? Oh my goodness. It's supposed to be a little bit off, although my own looks pretty much on target there, right there. See how it's a little bit off? Let me see if you can see that. See how it's just a little bit off there, but you wouldn't notice it until unless I tell you. Think of it as like loose watercoloring. So if you make a mistake, you can get away with making a mistake on it. So I did this one first. I used Distress ink on this one. And I think for this one, I used the same Distress ink here, but then on this part, I used some of the Catherine Pooler inks. I like her ink. I have a few of them. I don't have a lot because, you know, her ink, it just comes with a hefty price tag. Just, oh. You want to buy her full line of inks? You're looking at $700. Yeah. I'd rather buy Copic markers at that point. Nothing against her, but that's a big chunk of change. So that's the first card, second card. All right, now let me show you real quick. So this is using the stamped image, a little something to brighten your day. Here I decided to use the Simon Says Stamp die that I got with the 30% off. Hang in there. I like this. So this is the one I'm going to send her. And of course, if you haven't seen it yet, this is the Honeybee Stamps blanket slimline die in the background. So here I did it in white first, and then it was just looking so stark to me. Then I decided to give it a ton of contrast by putting it on a black background. And I popped on some little they're like water droplets. These are from KS Craft on AliExpress. I just glued those on. and made a thing. All right, so let me show you what this looks like. Because I am doing ink blending, I did have to use, you know, on general cardstock, it's going to be more difficult to get a nice smooth blend. So here I'm using the Strathmore Bristol Smooth Surface. Look for the word smooth surface. It'll be right next to the same looking pack at Hobby Lobby. It'll say vellum. Don't buy the vellum. You can flip in it anyway. Now this, see, I finished off the whole pack. So I'll keep this just down here for when I'm showing you guys in video. So I've got this one for $11.49. It is 9 by 12 inches. I went to Hobby Lobby yesterday, picked up another one. The 9 by 12 was not in stock. I thought this was the same thing. This is now 11 by 14. Comes with a little bit of a higher price tag, $13.99. But I used my 40% off on both. But I thought when I saw it yesterday at 13, I was like, oh, they raised the price. Ah, Hobby Lobby. You didn't even raise it by $1. You raised it by a couple dollars. But now I realize they just didn't have this size. They went bigger. Now, why I like the 11 by 14, because when I'm doing my slimline panels, I can also do the AliExpress size, which is 4 by 9 slimline base. This is perfect. I mean, 9 by 12, I'm getting only 1, 2, 3 out of a perfect sheet of paper. I have no room for error. With the 11 by 14, I'm getting 2 inches on each out of the 9 inches. So I can put a 9 by 4 in here and I'll have more space. I can still cut it. I'll have more space on either side and I'll also have more space here with the width. So I'm happy about that. So that's the Bristol Smooth Surface. That's what you're looking for. I was at Hobby Lobby and I couldn't find anything to use my 40% off on. So I went over to the art section and got my Bristol Smooth Surface. All right, enough of that sidebar. Next sidebar. But I told you guys when I made that card the other day, I found my old set. This is my old busted set. This is how old my set is. Now, if you're a longtime crafter, you're laughing because you know what this is. This was before Tim Holtz even made the round inker. This is like, these are super old, but they still work. So I have all the colors here in my little box. And I'm going to pull out, okay, spun sugar. Let's do picked raspberry. Now this is their square inker. Yeah, that old. So old that I even did this back in the day. But guess what? I never got rid of them and they still work. So guys, don't get rid of all your distress inks. That's the lesson. That's the whole point of my long-winded story. Maybe I should do purple. Yeah, maybe okay. Maybe I'll do a little bit of purple. Even the refill is in the box. I don't even know where the inker is for that size, but I can cut this one in half. So that's my sidebar. So after all my ink blending with Distress Oxides, now I'm ink blending back with Distress ink, and it's my old inks. I find it to be hilarious. See how it doesn't line up? See how it wants to kind of do its own thing? Let me zoom in. See how it wants to kind of not line up? Just get a loose, not crazy loose, but about there. And this now is a time for this type of thing where if you did decide to get, I'm going to back out now. If you did decide to get the Amazon, the purple tape that's found on Amazon, that's 1 inch wide. I link it in my basic supplies. I'll put the higher link in this video in case you want to get it because it is perfect to hold down something like this. I just use it here because it doesn't matter if it touches the paper really. It's really the stencil I want to hold down. But even if it touched the paper, because I'm only cutting on the image. I'm not making a flat card with it, which you could. You could just stamp this and use this whole thing as a panel and not cut it out. You don't have to cut it out and pop it up. But I just want to show you real quick. So let's go soft first. Always better to start. This is exactly what I did the other day. Yeah, I know. It is what it is. I don't care. I'm just cracking up. I'm like, these things actually still work. Yeah, they do. Because I never used them. And they stayed locked up in that thing like some vintage, yeah. Tap off. And I'm going to come in. And I come in lightly. Now, are they the most juiciest in the world? I have no clue. And even while doing this, I was even pulling out these just to give them a try. So I did, and I even went in with the brush. Now, the one thing about using this is that it can hitch on these little pieces. So in this case, you can also use your ink blending brushes if you want, like that. So I'm going to show you the big flower. So that's one. Then I'd come in with the next part and you just line it up. See how it lines up nicely? Is that it? No, that's not it. Hold on. No, that's not it. There we go. You'll start seeing the pattern coming through. There we go. Right there. Let me go a little bit of the purple. Let me see if that works. The purple I did use on her final card, this color, is Catherine Pooler's Sangria. That's the name of the color that I used for that. And I did use a blending brush on that one. I was just playing with it just to see, just to get a feel for it when I first, decided to take it out to make a card for my friend. Let's see how the distress inks work as well. Yeah, just lightly. Do. And then now for the middle, I could do the middle dark, like so if I wanted. Just a light hand. It's better to go light than not. And you can also use a wet wipe when you're done to clean it. If you use any gel medium, definitely wipe it off and then possibly wash it too. But go carefully because you can nip all these little edges, just like how I just did there. You don't want to lift them. Just go kind of in the direction of the stencil, just lightly. And the distress ink will come off. And there, look at that. Super cute. I'll fix this later. All right, I just wanted to show you that, how easy it is. And then, of course, when you want to line up the die, this is the easiest part. So now here we are with the die. Gonna pop it on here. This is also something, if you wanted to color it up with your alcohol markers, that's when you would go into your Copic paper or your Nina Solar White paper for markers. Not necessarily the Bristol Smooth Surface. The Bristol is for ink blending, not for alcohol marker coloring. Then I can use the same little bits of purple tape from Amazon to hold this down, run it through my machine, and I did use an extended cutting platform for this. It is long. I think on the Gemini you will get what, 8.5 inch clearance, so you can probably just cut it straight on your Gemini Junior. Definitely on your regular size Gemini. Alrighty, and then this is card 1, card 2. Tell me which one do you like? Do you like card 1 or do you like card 2? I like card 2. And of course, I just had to ground it with the blanket Slimline. I think that just gives it just such texture, and I know it's a blanket, so I'm thinking I'm sending her a hug. I get sappy like that, I know. And then, after I made the card, I remembered who I was sending it to, my friend. If I gave her this card in a regular white business envelope, oh, she'd have a heart attack. This is somebody I've known since high school. We went, another sidebar story. We went shopping for Mother's Day cards one year, and I picked up the card with the envelope behind it, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? Don't you match the envelope to the card?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" So if it had pink, we had to go pull all the other cards, match up the size, find a pink envelope. She's like, "That's how you do it." So there's no way I could send her a white envelope. Oh no, if I did this, she'd be like, "I like your card, but what was that with the envelope?" So I finally pulled out my Simon Says stamp Slimline envelope. I bought this, like I said, with that 30% off sale. Now, when I first saw this, I didn't even show you guys because I was so upset when I saw it. When it came in the mail and I saw it, I was like, ugh. Have you made like a craft purchase and then when the item comes, you're like, "That's not what I expected"? This was not what I expected. When you look at the picture on Simon Says stamp, I thought, because this is not cheap at all, so the 30% did help it come down. I thought this was a solid piece. The photograph made it look like it wasn't just this outline. It made it look like this was one solid piece. And I thought, well, I liked the flap, the shape of the flap. I love the flap at the bottom. I liked the two side pieces. And I made, dumb me, I made the assumption that it was solid. Both pieces were solid because of the high price tag. I think this is $39.99. Now, if I had known I was going to get this open thing, I probably wouldn't have gotten it. I would have been like, "Oh, no way." But I was looking at it and, having a discussion with the die going, "I'm so upset with you." Then I ran it through, made her color coordinated card. There, it's color coordinated, so she can't say nothing to me. She'd be like, "Oh, that envelope was just as beautiful as a card." Yeah. The only good thing, it didn't bend much. And I made it twice, and I was very surprised for something this long. This definitely is another one that needs an extended cutting plate, or you're going to have to, run it halfway, then run it on the other half. This is 11.5 inches long, 4¼ inches wide. So this can fit your AliExpress size 2 slimline cards. It's 9.5 on the inside. So this can fit all kinds of slimline cards. So I ran it through, pieced it together. Comes together very well. There is a little crack or two, but that's from the cardstock. It's a little soft American craft cardstock that I didn't like, that I used to cut it because of the color. And there it is. There's a little bit of cracking, but that doesn't bother me much. And I think it looks fantastic. And you can see it has that space for the 9-inch on the inside. So now, if you are interested in this slimline envelope, I will link it below. You can just go straight to it, or you can find it. See the paper? But it's an envelope. You don't need it to be, you know, this heavy duty. And it wouldn't work well anyway with 110-pound cardstock. And I'd need 12 by 12 paper. Regular letter size is too small. That's 8.5 by 11 inches. This is 11.5 inches. So to cut out all the pieces here, which is this piece, and this piece, you're using one 12 by 12 sheet of paper. And another thing with this, because I made the mistake when I had first cut it, I'm using textured paper here. See the texture? I like textured paper. I'm using textured paper just to give it a little bit, just to give it a luxe feel. So I'm using textured paper. Because it's only one panel, when you're cutting one of the sides, you have to cut it down on the reverse side. If you cut like how I did, here and here, it won't work on the back. So that's the only drawback with having only one side panel. if your paper is treated or if you're using printed cardstock. Printed cardstock. One side, you're going to cut on the printed side. Put the die face down on the printed side. On the next one, you're going to go on the reverse of the printed side, whether it's solid or some other print, and then cut that way to get it running, both sides working. Am I making sense to you guys? I hope I'm making sense. I think so. Because I did certainly waste paper doing it. Because once you cut this all out, you're pretty much using up your whole 12 by 12. And I'm going to just put the envelope quickly together for you. And when you do cut it, I use 1/8 of an inch. If I did 1/4 of an inch, it'll be a tight fit. So I just did 1/8 of an inch. Here at the bottom though, I did do 1/2 inch, and then I'll also seal it. So from the time I seal it like this, that'll hold the whole thing in place anyway. So the 1/8 of a 1/2 inch didn't really bother me of Scor-Tape. And you're going to have to put one on the inside to hold it down. Now, before you adhere this, because I made a mistake on the first one, the die fits perfectly in here. The problem with that, which I can tell this is not a mini album maker. Once I put the flat down and it fits perfectly, it started jamming here. Just take your scissors, just do a little nip at the top or at the bottom, so you get just a little bit of clearance so everything folds up nicely and nothing is interfering with each other. These are the hints from, these are the things that you learn from making mini albums all the time. Alrighty, so let me show you. So I'm going to start here at the bottom, run it alongside the edge here, and I made it red so I could use it for some sort of other Valentine's card. There. And see, just that little bit of clearance right there will let this fold nicely. It won't buckle on itself. So it's just a design, you know. I can understand why they did it, but I'm like, and you want to have the deeper V. There's a deeper V and a lower V. Here, let me show you from the side. There's a deeper V and a lower V. Lower V to the bottom of the card, deeper V to the top. Reason being why you want the deeper V towards the top, to be able to access the card. If it went straight across, it'd be hard to get in to get the card. The person would have to be sitting there tapping it out. We don't want that. We want them to enjoy that you chose the paper color nicely for their envelope and that they can access it easily. So I'm actually showing you 2 products in this product showcase, all because my friend is in quarantine. Yep. Let me get here. Just take your time. I don't know why all of a sudden on this side I'm having a hard time seeing it. Okay, yeah, this one's a little bit wonky. It's okay. All right, maybe I didn't nip this one. See how it goes all the way up there? See how it's crimping? You see how it's crimping? See how it's not crimping there? See how it's smooth here? Interfering here? And buckling right there? If you guys can see it, it's buckling right there. So I'm going to go back in, lift it a little bit, take a pair of scissors, and nip it. There we go. Nobody will notice that. Trust me. That's not something I might be like, why is that top corner cut off? They won't know. Then you want to select one edge, put a strip there, a strip of adhesive or wet glue. Come over. So you're folding it now. Now we're getting it in like almost like a taco, I guess. You're folding it over. You have, yeah, you can do 1/4 inch Scor-Tape. Fold it over. See how the envelope. That's one of the reasons why I bought this thing, because it just came together. It just looked like so easy coming together. Because there are other envelope dies that wasn't so 1-2. This one is a 1-2. And then you fold the bottom. You seal that in. And then you can put, you know, your little, if you're going to give it to somebody by hand, then you can put some sort of removable adhesive here. If you are going to mail it, then you stick a piece of Scor-Tape. Here I have the scrapbook.com Scor-Tape down here. I just run a piece across here. so and seal it. Let's test it. And this card does have some, it is raised up on foam tape, and it does have this part, and it does have the little bobbles that are raised up. See, this card does have dimension, and it fits perfectly in here. It can't be super high, because once it gets higher, then the width becomes a problem. But at 8.5 inch, you could probably still get away with it being higher and higher. But look at that. Isn't that cute? That's business size. Not heavy at all. So let me show you the other die that I got from Simon Says. That's this one, the Hang In There. It is called Hang In There. I will link that as well if you want to check that out. If it's not in stock, just put your email to be notified. That's a good thing about, especially when it comes to their brand of products, the Simon Says brand. They keep replenishing it. Only when they have their special products, then they don't. But super duper duper cute. So that's my project share. We got Slimline envelopes that I thought was going to be a high quality die, but it does handle going through the machine well. I thought I was going to get a die that was bent in a curve, you know, at 11.5 inches hollow, but it does work well. So if you want to treat yourself to one Slimline envelope die, this is a good one. Has a nice beveled edge here, has a nice clean bottom here. You can put a nice thick up to like I did 1/2 inch here, and it'll hold. Don't worry about that. And this, you can do your 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch. I just did 1/8 inch because I didn't want it didn't want to be off. If it was just a little bit wider, that would have been better. 3/8 inch. Then I would have definitely put a 1/4 inch there. All right, guys. So this is my card for my friend. Thank you for watching my long video with all my sidebars. And my old busted distress inks, which still work. And all of a sudden now I'm blending with distress ink instead of distress oxide. I know. But I have the option of blending with both. Alrighty, guys, on to the next video. Hang in there. And I hope this is a little something to brighten your day. Ha ha! Alrighty, stay crafty, my friends. Bye.